In today's video, we are building an 8 GPU Flux mining rig. Today's video is sponsored by the team over at PoloMiner.com. PoloMiner.com specializes in supplying one of the top next-generation crypto mining server enclosures in the United States. Some of the best crypto mining hardware has always resided overseas. Well, PoloMiner.com is changing that in 2022. PoloMiner.com has answered the community call for next-level crypto mining hardware stateside. Looking to work one-on-one with exceptional US-based customer support? No fear, PoloMiner.com is here to help. If you're looking to step up your crypto mining farm, look no further. Head over to PoloMiner.com and check out their next-generation 8 GPU server case. Tell them that the Hobbyist Miner sent you. Thanks again to PoloMiner.com for supporting the Hobbyist Miner community. What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. In today's video, we will be building an 8 GPU Flux mining rig. Last night, we went ahead and live on stream, we literally took apart all of these GPUs. We cleaned them out, we put new pads, new paste on them, and a few of these actually brand new fans, and these are ready to be installed in our brand new Flux mining rig. So let's go ahead and introduce our guest of honor here. Starting in the upper left-hand corner, we have our EVGA GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. This is a For the Win 2 edition. We then have an MSI Armor GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. This guy is the RTX 2060 Founders Edition. We have the EVGA GeForce RTX 2060. Our beefiest card in the bunch here, we have our Gigabyte GeForce RTX 2060 Super. And then, I don't need to hold up all three, but our Gigabyte, and this is an Aorus edition, GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. And we have 3 of these. So, now that we've gone over our 8 GPUs, let's go ahead and talk about our brand new server case that I got in that I'm excited to share with you guys and build this Flux mining rig in, and that is the PoloMiner. Alrighty guys, so let's take a look at the PoloMiner. I have been really excited to get this in and hyped. It's been a few weeks actually, and we finally got this miner in, and I've been super excited to dive into this because I love to check out new tech. I don't know about you guys. So let's get this opened up. That looks awesome. I like the logo on there. All right, so we got PoloMiner on the side. We have an on-off button here, which is pretty cool to see. We also have a reset button and a power HD. We got USB in the front, 4 fans in the front. My understanding is these are 4 7500 RPM fans, and they're PWM fans hooked into a controller, so you can go ahead and adjust the different levels of speed that you're interested in doing based off of ambient temperatures and things like that. Let's take a look. Nice clean setup. All right, so here's the back here. We have for our 8 GPUs, power supply. I have to see if this is I think there's a 2400 and a 2500 watt, so we'll have to check. And then on the back here, let's see, on the back we have Ethernet, USB, 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 and VGA, and some type of restart or power button. I wish they had an I/O here to cover this. It'd look a lot cleaner than leaving it open, unless this is required for airflow, because of what looks like there's the heat sink in there. We'll have to go ahead and see. Okay, so let me get all of this blue. Oh, I hate that they do this. I hate this stuff. Let me get the blue wrap taken off, and I'll be back in a minute. All right, we got all of that blue plastic off. Now, I totally understand why. Like, it's there for shipping so it doesn't get scratched. And guess what? It didn't get scratched at all, so I'm super thankful. But that is such a pain in the butt. Anyways, we are ready to open this up. So I took off, there was 2 screws on the right, and there's 2 screws on the left. I got those completely taken off. So let's unveil what's inside. Woo! Look at that. Oh, it's so clean. Awesome. So answers our question. We were talking about the power supply. It is a 2400 watt power supply. Now this one here requires 220 or 240 volt. So if you guys do pick this up, this is one of those massive ones that you see, and it only has one plug on it. It's one power supply total, 2400 watts, which that is insane. That's going to be far larger than what I'm going to be putting into this rig here. So let's see, what else do we have in here? So we got your traditional green board. Hopefully at some point we see it blue or like a different color, but they all come out green unless you especially go ahead and replace it. So what else do we see here? What else do we have going on? So underneath here, kind of hard to see, but underneath here we have our heatsink as well as our fan for our CPU. So this one has a G series CPU in it that is super efficient, barely uses any watts. We have 8 gigabytes of memory underneath back in here as well. And then we also have, look at that, a 64 gigabyte MSATA hard drive in there, which is nice right there. Which I actually have a HIVEOS version ready to go. And I was like, oh, I'm going to use a solid state. Look, I actually had a solid state drive ready to go. I got it, and I'm like, oh, it has MSATA. So we'll have to go ahead and get HIVEOS installed on that. No big deal. Don't mind. It's kind of nice how they position that right in the middle, easily accessible. So what else here? What else do we see? I like that there's 2 support bars. That's different than some of the other server cases that we've seen and worked with. All right, so taking a look from this side of things, we have our fans. So these are the 7500 RPM fans. Now, I don't know what the CFM conversion is. That lets us know that there's 7500 CFM, and then they actually go into a controller, a full fan controller in there, and it actually has a thermostat and everything on that, so you can go ahead and adjust as to what speeds they kick in. And then finally, which these are so nice, but this is different, definitely different. So take a look at this. So from our 2400 watt power supply, it feeds into the motherboard. Then from the motherboard, we have these short PCI cable runs that would go into our GPUs. So we'll cut our zip tie here, but this is different. So traditionally, we go right from the power supply into the cards, never going, and then we have a few that go into the board to power the board, right? This board is completely different. It isn't just like a small power supply and then an extension board. It's actually an entire riserless board, and then all that power goes in right here. That's so different. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I love it. It's definitely unique. So it looks like what we'll do is we'll cut our zip tie, and then we'll wire these right into our graphics cards. Okay, so we have our PCI cables are free and ready to go. I did look up, these are 18 gauge. If we're talking about ways to improve, 16 gauge would be better and best, but 18 gauge is fine. It'll get by, no big deal. We did remove our MSATA drive down here. And then what I did was I actually brought it over here. And I wasn't going to show this to you guys, but I was like, hey, maybe somebody can value from this. So here's our MSATA drive and our set screw. Don't lose it. This little adapter I got a while ago, and oh my gosh, it's a godsend. So I'll put a link down below to it. This pretty much takes your MSATA and turns it into a USB drive. So don't lose these set screws. They are always impossible. If you drop it, it's gone. Like, good luck finding these things. As you can see here, I'm having a difficult time getting this in. Come on, work with me. There we go. So it comes with this little screwdriver, which is really, really nice. And we'll get that in there. And then bam, we can go ahead and plug this into our computer. And we'll install HIVEOS on this. Now, if you guys are interested in this adapter, I'll put a link down below to it. As well as, if you guys have no clue how to install HIVEOS on something like this or in general, I have a full guide. I call it the ultimate guide to installing HIVEOS. We go over how to install HIVEOS on a solid state drive, how to install it on a USB drive or an MSATA drive. So go check that out down below. I'll put a link in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, so while we wait for Blina Etcher to install HIVEOS on our MSATA drive, I'm going to go ahead and put these handles on. These real heavy-duty handles are super common with server cases, and these will be really nice. So they go ahead and install right on the sides here, on the front, because then as you're moving these around, you have those to hold them by, because the metal on the side of these things can kind of get sharp. I've gotten cuts. I even got one right here just from an PoloMiner case not too long ago. So let me go ahead and get our handles installed real quick. Okay, we are ready for my favorite time of the night, and that is installing our GPUs. And I was thinking through it, and I was like, is there a better way to go about like these GPU installs? Like, which ones do I install where? So based off the fact that in the very first slot, it's very close to like the CPU, even though that's not putting off much heat, I thought I would put a card in there that I think is going to put off the least amount of heat based off of some initial testing. And so I'm going to start with this smallest one, which is the GeForce RTX 2060. It uses a traditional 8-pin. So I'm going to take this one and put this one all the way to the left. And then I'm just going to kind of put the randos in and then the gigabytes at the very end. She's a beauty. She's a beauty. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Whew, that case got a lot heavier. So, what do you think? You like it? Let's go through it. EVGA RTX 2060. EVGA RTX 2060 Founders Edition. EVGA GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. MSI Armor 1070 Ti. 1, 2, 3 of the Gigabyte Aorus 1070 Ti's, and finally on the end, our superstar, our Gigabyte 2060 Super. So we have one thing left to do with the build, and then we'll do overclocks, of course. We need to get our PCI cables installed. So let's do that, and before I do that, let's look here. So this is the support bar. The bottom of the support bar, nice and padded, which is nice. It installs right here. Now, what I like about that, let's see, will that fit? Man, that support bar is not going to fit. Nope. I've had a few server cases that have this issue as well. So the issue is a card like this, it's actually hitting this MSI Armor. It doesn't go up high enough. On the side of the case here, you guys can see there's some slots. These slots need to go higher because the support bar needs to come up more. So, another room for improvement, not the end of the world. We're not going to be putting this vertical at the current moment, so not a huge deal, but something to think about. So we're going to put our support bar aside. So let's get our PCI power cables installed in 3, 2, and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Flux mining rig. Heck yeah. So our PCI cables are installed. It actually worked out really, really nice. So now I fully understand why they designed this case to have the power coming right from the motherboard. I mean, if you take a look, it literally is coming right from underneath the card. It's a nice short run. It makes it so easy. Take a look. All of this area is now completely cleaned up. There's a lot of other server cases that have like a big, massive piping of PCI cables and they're all over the place. This is really nice. It doesn't block a lot. It just comes up and through. This actually is a really, really smart design. I am falling in love with the PoloMiner case. Kudos to the engineering team that put this together. Good for you guys. Okay. So what we got left? So Our next step is to put the lid on, and then we're going to go ahead and get this installed in our mining room. Now, if we head over to our mining room now, I'll bring you guys with me here. Let's take a look. It might be a little loud. I'm thinking of putting it on top of the octo miners there. I think it's a little too wide to put where our Dogecoin miners are. So I think we'll put it right on top of the octo miner case right there. Okay, moment of truth. We've moved our PoloMiner in. It's right in here in our mining room, right above our octo miner. We have the X12 on the bottom octo miner, the X8 Plus right in the middle, and now we have our PoloMiner right on top. I did go ahead and wire it over to this 30 amp 240 volt plug because we're only at 1800 versus our other one over there. We're almost at 4000. We have our single power supply cable right here and our Ethernet cable plugged in. This is the C13 to C14 going in. Let's go ahead and hit our power button. Power button's on now. I didn't have the cable seated in all the way. Heck yeah. PoloMiner powered up. I'm super excited. Woo, feel that air coming through. That's pretty crazy. All right, let's jump over to HIVEOS and let's get some overclock settings in place for our 8 GPU Flux mining rig. Something real quick that I found, I was having some overheating issues with my cards, and I went into my mining room, and I'll show you guys a clip here, and opened up the case, and there's a little knob inside there right where the fan controller is. It's a manual fan controller, and man, it was turned down all the way from factory. As soon as I took that thing and cranked it up, oh my gosh, huge world of difference. Those fans got super loud and started to spin like crazy. So another cool thing to note. Okay, so we have our overclock settings in place and we're set and ready to go here. In total, we are making about 342 souls, which is awesome. Our overclock settings are set about 150 across the board. And then we have 850 and 750 based off of the cards that you guys can see. And finally, we are setting our power limit at 150. We do pretty well with our electric rate, so we go with 150. A lot of people that want to go ahead and have some issues with cost of electric, you'll see them down to 125 to 130. If you guys are just getting into Flux and you need some good overclock settings, I'm going to put a link down below. I created a while back a hobbyist miner community Flux overclock settings spreadsheet. And in this spreadsheet here, you guys can see this is all fed from the community. The community provided these to me. And as you guys can see, we have a boatload of different overclock settings in this sheet. As you scroll up, everything from 1060s all the way down in order, all the way down to our 3090s. Now, the nice thing about this spreadsheet is it's provided by the community. In addition to that, the memory type is critical when you're overclocking your rigs. So the nice thing is, thank you to the community for providing this. This is several months old. I will be building this out over the next few weeks to not only include NVIDIA, but we're going to do a separate tab for AMD so that we have a boatload of overclock settings for the community. So the link will be down below in the description. Well, we have another 8 GPUs now mining Flux. I am hyped, man. I am excited with the direction that Flux is going, with the direction of the parallel assets and all the projects that are coming for Flux. I truly do believe that Flux is going to be the proof of work coin moving into the future for us miners. That being said, a huge shout out to the team over at PoloMiner. Their server enclosure case is amazing. It kicks butt. It's simple. It's easy to use. It's clean. I love it. I love the design. It's a little different than some of the other ones out there, but it's definitely worth it. And they're US based, which is awesome, based out of Indiana. So I think I'm going to have to reach out to them and kind of see if we can get our hands on a second case there for our next upcoming Flux mining rig build. Because guess what? It's on the horizon and I'm planning for it. Well, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And finally, don't forget to subscribe. Take care.